What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Walker on the line, back with another video. And today we are talking about filament. And before we get into that, if you are watching this video and you like my content, please like the video and subscribe. And so back into the discussion of filament. This will not be a deep dive into what filaments to buy, what to do with filaments, or how to know things about filaments. My knowledge is very, very low. The depth of my knowledge is if you open filament and you end up using it once and you still have a ton left and you leave it out, you want to dry it. You want to get a filament dryer and make sure you dry it because it can absorb moisture in the air and it could cause issues with prints in the future if you leave it out really long enough. I haven't ran into that issue yet. You know, invest in a filament dryer, especially if you're gonna be buying in bulk and swapping around a ton. But the topic that I wanna entertain today is bamboo filament versus everything else. The one thing I can go ahead and tell you, a lot of people may not like me, they may not agree with me, very strongly say that I have no clue what I'm talking about, which they are completely right. So far, it looks really good on Bambu's side. I want you to take away from this video is that this is purely my opinion and purely my experiences with filament. And so I will tell you, I have used eSun, Elegoo, Bambu, Creality, and iSandmate. So about 5 different types of filament brands. The one I used the most was Elegoo. So what made me decide to switch, surprisingly, wasn't anything wrong with filament. It was their AMS unit. And it's probably not the reason you're thinking if you know anything about their AMS unit. So if you know anything about their AMS unit, it is designed for their custom rolls, which look like this. They're refillable. You can take them apart when you run out, throw it in the trash, put a new one on when you order it. And this is what the refillables look like. And just for an example, this is not an Elegoo spool, but it looks exactly like it. Majority of the spools are the same. You got between cardboard and plastic. This is what the Elegoo spools look like. Not much of a difference. Pretty much as simple as that. It's a plastic spool. The reason I decided to switch is partially fault of Bambu and their AMS unit. Even though you can use any kind of spool, it's just designed for their rolls, their spool rolls. There's a little bit of conveniences with it. I'll get into that in just a second. I printed a ton with Elegoo, and when I put a fresh roll in, everything was fine. Everything printed great. There was no problems, nothing at all, nothing went wrong. When the spool got down to where it was a lighter spool, when it would try to load it in and swap filaments, and it would start pulling the spool up instead of rolling it smoothly. So I just kept messing around, seeing if I could fix it. Everything was fine. And the only issue I can really say it was is that the AMS unit just isn't designed for other kind of spools. Not saying it won't work, not saying that it isn't just an Elegoo thing. Maybe Elegoo spools just don't work as good in the AMS unit. But I'll tell you this right now, you know that Bambu's filament spools and Bambu's filament is going to ride smooth in the Bambu AMS unit. And I know tons of people don't use Bambu filament whatsoever. Completely fine. Now there are some conveniences when you do use their spools. So obviously you have the replaceable spool itself where you can open it up and put new filament on it. And then if you go to their website, they have refills. So that's a convenience. Don't have to get a whole new spool, don't have to throw a spool in the trash. You just gotta throw that little cardboard away, maybe a little bit of excess filament, and you're rocking and rolling. And the other convenience is, I'm not exactly sure the technology they use. I wanna say RFID or some kind of scanner, maybe some kind of thermal, I have no clue, but whatever it is, it's got a little thing on the side of the roll, on the side of the filament, that it scans it and it tells your Bambu Studio what color, what filament is in there. And there's already presets for it, and you ain't gotta touch anything as far as it goes for the filament itself, because everything's already preloaded for Bambu PLA, Bambu Silk, Bambu ASA, all of it. It's all preloaded, and it just scans that and tells it what it is, and you ain't even gotta change nothing, not even the color. So that is definitely a plus, and it's a very nice plus, and it's a very nice convenience. Now, what are we talking price-wise? Is that convenience worth spending extra money? Because I don't know if any of you who may own a Bambu printer, or maybe you just looked at other kinds of filament. I don't know if you ever looked at it, but Bambu is up there in price. Basic Bambu PLA is $20, and that is a fair price. That is not a bad price. The Bambu Silks, $22.99. Sometimes they have a little bit of a different price jump, but overall, it is still within the ballpark, understandable. But now, if you're just getting into it, it's a little bit of a price jump because you have to get the spools. But if you're gonna be realistic and take a step back and not just go ahead and start ordering 100 different refills, you need to realize that once you load it on there, it is on there. You use 200 kilograms of spool, and you need to go ahead and swap colors. And you need every other color except the one that you've just used the 200 grams on. So you got to take that one off. You can't just take the spool off, take the filament out, and set it down and come back to it later. Because whenever you do that, if you do not have it taped together, tied together, stayed in uniform, how it is on the spool, then it starts to unravel and then it loses its form. And then you have the issue of, okay, now I can't get it back on there without unrolling the entire thing and then wrapping it all the way back. Hopefully you see this before you make a mistake like that. You're gonna be getting into the issue of when you start using Bambu filament, it is very pricey. Now you can buy the spools, and they're not overtly expensive. I'm not gonna lie, when I first was looking into this, I was sitting there thinking like, oh, they're gonna charge 20 bucks a spool because it's reusable and you know, it's a one-time charge. So I really thought they were gonna be a little bit egregious with it, but surprisingly, Bambu's not. Original pricing is $11.99. And so they have a really nice system where if you go to buy filament, it knocks it down to $7.99. And this isn't a limited time sale. This isn't any kind of specialty. I've seen this on every single time I went to go purchase filament. So as long as you're purchasing filament, you can get it for $4 off, which is great. And I think that's very nice. So you would just go here and pick how many ever you need. You click add, and then there you go. And you don't have to buy a certain amount. You can take it all the way down to one reusable spool. As long as you are purchasing a refill, you get this deal. And so you won't see any way to get a discount if you're just buying the spool. And so that's just something you need to know before you go ahead and decide to swap, if you do decide to swap. And I will say, I mean, using Bambu's filament in a Bambu printer, it is very nice. It is not necessary whatsoever. So don't feel obligated just because you own a Bambu Studio printer to go and buy their filament. Of course you're gonna have benefits. Of course you're gonna have conveniences. Of course it is very nice to just be able to buy everything from one source. But also the downside is you can't just buy Bambu filament and get it here in 2 days on Amazon. Bambu doesn't allow their stuff on Amazon. You have to purchase it from their website. It says 3 to 10 days. I got mine in about 5 or 6 days. So it's one of those things where, yeah, you get the conveniences of their filament, but you also have to wait on shipping. You have to pay for shipping. It's one of those things where it has pros and cons. I'm personally against the fact that they don't allow their stuff on Amazon because it's an inconvenience to me. I understand it's their filament. They can decide where it goes, but to me, it's a little bit of an inconvenience. I would prefer to purchase it on Amazon. But I will say, Amazon isn't gonna have these deals. So if I ever wanted to buy a spool or buy anything like that, I would check their website first and make sure these deals are going on, because sometimes they have other kinds of deals as well, and make sure that there's nothing that I need. And then if there's nothing that I need, I would just buy the filament from Amazon so I could have it here sooner. I'd say that's probably one of the biggest downsides is shipping. Now, I recently made a large purchase of filament because I had a customer who wanted an order, and I was like, you know what, I want to swap over to Bambu anyway, so as soon as he sends his deposit over, I'm gonna go ahead and make my large bulk order of filament that includes his and also the extra filament I'll need for future, and I will go ahead and get into it. And getting into the Bambu economy is essentially the same thing as getting into the Apple economy. There's just so much conveniences of being in it that you really just don't want to leave it. I mean, it's a give and take. I can't say other brands are bad because they're not. I've used them and everything's came out just fine. But I will say Bambu is just as good. I can't say better because I know every filament can do just about anything. All filaments are going to be the same. Some filaments are better and some filaments are just made better. I'm not going to say it is the best. I'm not going to say it's the worst. And I'm not going to really sit here and try and compare, because even if you get down to it, a $50 roll of filament that is made with the top dollar, made in the top factory, whatever it is, no matter the price of the filament, if it's the best of the best or the average of the average, you can get the same quality print. And if the more expensive brand of filament is getting a better quality print, it's by just a little bit. It's not gonna be by a ton. It's not gonna be by enough to where it really justifies paying double the cost of a roll. And I'm not saying that there's PLAs out there that are $50, but when you get into the other kind of brands like PCs, ASAs, fiber reinforced and stuff like that, that's where you get to your top dollars. But as far as PLA goes, you don't have to worry. You don't really need to worry about what is the absolute best because it's PLA. It is not meant to be the best. It is meant to be the average. And also, another pro side Bambu has, if you order 4 or more filaments, you get a discount, turning the price of a refill from $20 to $17.99. So the more you buy, the more you'll save. I like those deals that they have that are permanent. They're not flash deals. They're not, oh, get it now for this price. You know, you only have a limited time. I love companies that are like, hey, if you're gonna buy bulk, we are going to reward you for buying bulk. It feels very rewarding and it feels right that a company selling to a consumer is like, we are going to help out our customers because they are helping out us. A give and take. And yes, I mean, what? You're saving $2 on a refill? Yes, but if you buy 10 rolls, you save $20. So at the end of the day, should you get Bambu filament? It is really up to you. If you have a Bambu printer, I would highly recommend it. If you don't have a Bambu printer, there is no need for it. You can buy whatever you want. Specifically, if you're using a Bambu printer with the Bambu AMS, I would highly recommend getting you Bambu filament with the refillable spools because the AMS unit is just made for it. That's what they designed it for, and it works best with it. That is just what I'm getting at. Just a quick side note before we end the video here. I purchased me a little spool rack, and I got a spool rack here. It goes all the way back there as well, so I can set 2 at a time. Really nice and really convenient. This bad boy was like $60. I don't really think it's worth it. I don't really like the fact that it was $60, but you know, it is what it is. It was either buy this one for $60 or buy a really small one that sets on the floor or sets on the table. They could only hold 2 racks worth and it wouldn't be as wide. So, you know, it's one of those convenient purchases. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. I really hope I clarified some things about Bambu filament for you guys if you were curious. And if I helped you out, let me know in the comments below. And stay tuned. I post shorts currently daily. I'm trying to keep that pace up. It's a little bit difficult, but I'm gonna continue to try and keep it a daily thing because the community seems to like it. I'm getting a lot of subscribers over it. I would try to keep those going for you guys. And if you want any more videos in the future, let me know and I'll see if I can get to them. So I hope you guys enjoy. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see more. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions. And as always, if you want to support me, I have a Patreon in the description. I have a GoFundMe as well if you want to support me growing my own business. If you don't have to. It's okay. And I just appreciate you guys being here and having a good time. It's been Walker on the Line, and I'll see you guys later.